and welcome to Lizzie Watches Yaoi. And today I'm talking about Lesson XX, an OVA that runs at about 50 minutes. It's quite a sweet, gentle story. It definitely falls more into the shonen ai genre than the yaoi genre. It came out in 1995, and you can kind of tell that because the animation is from that period. And as I say, it's a very sweet show. I think when I first watched it, when it first came out, I probably would have been wonderfully removed by the romance in it and thought of this lovely coming of age story about new fledgling feelings. Now that I'm older, I'm less romantic. I don't think I was really that romantic, but I'm not the kind of in the age bracket that these boys are, and I like my yaoi more yaoi and a little bit more darker. Plus, this is one of those ones that's set in the very typical high school setting, which a lot of yaoi and shonenai fell into for a very long time. But it basically follows our main character Shizuka, who's a very attractive, tall boy. The girls fancy him, the boys want to be him. He's student president, and he, for some unknown reason to himself, he realizes that he is really attracted to his friend Sakura. He suddenly just says, like, why do I fancy this boy? I don't know if I love him, but I certainly want to bang him. I mean, they don't use the word bang. He says, why is it that I want to do it with Sakura? And it's like, I don't even know if I love him, but I definitely want to do him. The story unfolds full of misunderstandings and jealousy and unrequited feelings and not sure where they're coming from. Eventually, our two boys learn that they do love each other. I mean, I think what makes me cynical is the fact that you can't fall in love with someone after just one kiss. But then this is, shoujo, shonenai, romance manga at its sweetest. So it plays out along the ways with its usual kind of the poetic openings they have for these. It's like, at the time we didn't know if we were coming or going, the wandering and the paths that met. And you're like, okay, yes, this was definitely kind of a genre type for a while of like the understandings and the passings of the wind and like our days of our lives, that kind of thing. The anime itself makes a great effort to make sure that Shizuka is very much getting the female gaze, very much being fetishized. He's always sleeping or lying down looking serene, and you're staring at his beautiful face. The camera is forever panning over his tall, slender body. He's the only male character that sleeps in short shorts, and his long legs are always staring at. So you get the fact that we are meant to be definitely very attracted to this beautiful boy and his poor little heart that doesn't understand why he's got sexual feelings for his best friend Sakura. Sakura, he's more of a tomboy type, he's fun, he's a little naive, he doesn't quite get what's going on at first, and he's a little bit more innocent. So enter our kind of female characters. So you have Sake Sagawa, who is the beautiful princess of the school. Like she is the one that all the boys fancy. And one day she's nearly hit by a baseball, so Shizuka stops it. And from that moment, she's like, oh, I want to know more about this boy. I want to be friends with him, potentially more. I'm going to keep on approaching him with little requests so we can get to know each other. Meanwhile, there's Meikawa. Meikawa is being teased by the other boys in the class because she's found carrying a condom with her. And they're all like, oh, wow, what are you doing with that? Who are you having sex with? But really, it's just a phase that was going on in Japan where girls kept condoms on them as lucky charms because it thought they would somehow have a boyfriend if they were prepared to have sex. And at least all the boys say that it's good that they're carrying condoms. And the boys are all like, it's only the polite thing to do to always have one on them. But Sakura's like, what's this? Wait, why would... And they're all like, oh, don't you know what that is? He goes, yeah, of course I do, but I've never really thought about it. And they're like, you haven't thought about condoms? What do you mean? Don't you think about having sex with girls? And Sakura's like, no, I've never once thought about having sex with girls. Does that make me weird? And everyone's like, yes, that makes you look weird. We're all going to laugh at you now. Sakura does try and get the condom back for Meikawa, but she's all too embarrassed and runs off. But eventually she comes back and she's like, sorry for getting all embarrassed. And he's like, it's all right, it's okay. And they start a friendship and a chatting. And obviously this is the point where Shizuka walks past and he's all like, there's something going on between those two. I'm going to be all jealous and go and cry and look wistfully at something. And it's the start of like all the many misunderstandings between these two characters. Lots of misunderstandings. It continues like this for most of it. Then like Sasuke Sagawa asks Shizuka to go for a coffee to get his ideas on a gift for her dad, but Sakura sees this and is all like, "Oh no, I think they might be dating now. Oh, I'm jealous of them." And eventually Sakura is just like, "Oh no, I need to do something about this." And the two boys have this back and forth. But before any of this happens, one day Sakura turns up on the beach as Shizuka has his favourite spot. He sits on the beach staring at the stars, and then Shizuka goes, "Sakura, what would you say if I said I wanted to kiss you?" And Sakura's just like, "Don't be silly, we're both boys. No, can't possibly. Wait, maybe. Okay, you could kiss me one time, just out of curiosity." And he's like, "Are you sure?" And Sakura's like, grabs hold of him. He's like, "Yes, I'm sure. Kiss me." So Shizuka's like, "Okay, I'll give you a little bit of a peck on the lips." And then the two make out a bit more. Then they collapse on the sand and hug for a bit as they go, "Oh, I think the refreshing sea breeze must be getting to our heads. No, I think it's the stars hypnotizing us. That's why we're feeling all these feelings." But since that kiss, they've kind of not really brought it up again until all the jealousy and the being seen with other girls kind of goes, "Oh no, that one must fancy that one. No, that one must fancy that one." And Sakura's like, "I'm done with all this shenanigans. I'm just going to go up to Shizuka and tell him that I think I'm in love with you now." Which is what he does. Apparently after one kiss, he's like, "I think I love you." Shizuka's like, "Really, Sakura? Are you sure?" And he's like, yes, I think." And he's like, "No, I think you're just experimenting. I think you're just like, I think you just let me kiss you out of curiosity." And he's like, "That can't be." And he's like, "Are you sure?" And then Shizuka, in typical like, "Oh, I kind of have the same feelings, but now I'm being all self-doubty and all like too nervous to actually go ahead with this," starts teasing Sakura, going, "Oh, well, if you're that in love with me after one kiss, how about we experiment some more and try something more than kissing?" And Sakura, in all his innocence, is like, "What are you talking about?" And at the same time, Shizuka is just imagining Sakura making out of Meikawa, decides he's going to push him away because he thinks it's for the best. And he's like, "Oh, you know what I mean? There's some more interesting stuff we can do." And Sakura's like, "Oh, you idiot, I'm going to punch you." And Shizuka's like, "Oh, no, you're an idiot." And then Sakura runs away. And Shizuka's like, "Ah!" And all misunderstandings, and then they don't talk to each other for 2 weeks because they're all jealous and idiotic. Therefore, all the other characters in the story, they live in like a dorm with two other boys, and the kind of woman in charge of the dorm, and she's all like, "Shizuka, you're holding things in. I can tell you haven't been very happy at the moment. Here's some pep talks about feelings and grasping what you truly want and not holding yourself back." And then Shizuka's best friend, the one that's like, "It's okay to fancy a boy. I know what's going on. It's cool." He's like, "Oh, you're running from your problems. It's like we're in our youth and it's summer. Don't hide from your true feelings." Meanwhile, Sakura's gone home for his parents, but he bumps into Maikawa when he's sitting around one day daydreaming in the sunshine, because they do a lot of that. There is a lot of daydreaming in the sunshine and staring at the sky and gentle breezes ruffling hairs and shadows floating. I mean, there is one beautiful scene where the shadows of the tree falls across Shizuka's face, and it just looks really beautiful. So I can't fault like how attractive a lot of this looks. I mean, yes, the animation is from the 90s, so it looks dated by compared to today's standards, but it still has these beautiful moments, and it does have this soft, like gentle music through it all that's just like, "Oh, la 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 la, look at these boys, they might love each other." Soft focus, floaty little lights, continuous staring, so much loving staring into space or each other. A lot of that goes down. And Maikawa is like, "What are you doing, Sakura?" And he's like, "I've got a question. Can you just kiss someone out of curiosity?" And she's like, "I don't know, but why don't you kiss me?" And meanwhile, Shizuka's doing his own moping about type, going, "Oh, I don't know how I feel about anything." And Sakura goes to kiss Maikawa and decides, no, he can't. That's not what his true feelings are. He just can't do it. And she's like, "See, I knew you weren't the kind of person that could just kiss someone you don't love. Whoever this person is that you kiss, you clearly love them." And Sakura's like, "Oh my god, no, I do love them. And I don't know what I'm going to do about this, but there's a poster for fireworks. Oh my goodness, I now must see fireworks with Shizuka." And which is amazing because Shizuka hasn't gone home for summer, so he's still around, so he can go to the fireworks. And if you know anything about anime, there's always been a trope of going to watch like fireworks with the ones that you love the most, and especially like on a date, and fireworks illuminating them, and symbolizing the like realization, ba-dum, ba-dum, we're in love, hearts are fluttering, fireworks are going off. So Sakura decides that he's going to somehow meet Shizuka at the fireworks and then confess properly and get Shizuka to confess too. Then seemingly forgets all about this because his dad comes in and goes, can you help me carry the temple shrine for the like festival? And he's like, oh yeah, today's the day of the fireworks. Oh damn, better do something about that. Gets on his bike, rides all the way to Shizuka's house, but Shizuka has decided he himself is going to go to the festival and go look at the fireworks, and he's wandering around a little bit like doopty doopty doopty. Then he meets Sakagawa, and she's all like, have you come to see the fireworks? Oh, that's so wonderful. Why don't you come with me? And her friends are all like, ooh, didn't know you two were a couple. And she's all like, oh, I'm so shy, but yeah. And Shizuka just kind of stands there going, huh? What's going on? She's like, come on, let's go to the fireworks, and takes his hand. And he's like, yeah, why not? I've got nothing better to do. I'm all broken-hearted because I purposely pushed the boy I loved away because I thought it'd be better off for both of us if he went and dated the girl, because they'd be much happier and much less like, bad things will come to them if he goes and has a normal relationship with this girl. But at the same time, the fireworks start and the crowd starts sweeping Sakagawa out of the way, and Shizuka makes no attempt to follow her, and he's like, oh well, she's gone now, might as well go sit on the beach and cry at the fireworks. And he's like, oh, it's so sad. I cry so much. And it's like, well, of course you cry. Your boy that you loved, you pushed away. And as if by magic, a firework goes off and it illuminates the fact that Sakura has been desperately riding to meet him and rides over the sand dune and crashes the bike and is all like, yippee! And he's like, I've turned up. And Shizuka's like, why have you turned up? And Sakura's like, runs to hug him, going, oh, you're an idiot. And Shizuka's like, I know I'm an idiot, but I thought pushing you away was the best, but I can't do it anymore. And it's like, I know, I think I love you. Let's kiss some more and let's stare at each other with soft focus and fluffy light bubbles and fireworks blossoming everywhere. And it's all very beautiful and like, yay. And then they go from making out under the fireworks to standing in the shower naked. No sexy times, just standing in the shower naked and staring at each other. A lot of more staring, and it's like, oh, and talking about feelings, and it's like, only your kiss can make my heart feel like this. But as Shizuka puts Sakura's hand on his heart, over his heart to hear it thumping, and he's like, oh, this is so romantic. And Sakura's like, oh, you can kiss me again, but not like you did on the beach. It was too much tongue. And it's like, I don't want your tongue in my mouth. And I'm like, oh, dude, you're so innocent. So Shizuka's like, okay, I won't put my tongue in your mouth. We'll just kiss a little bit more. And then I'll kiss the side of your neck. And then we'll just hug each other, and then we'll lie on the cold floor and hug each other. And then it kind of cuts to like outside the bathroom where you just see like the silhouettes of them going, oh, I don't think I can like hold on any moment. I don't think I can either. Lovely, soft, fluffy music playing. And I assume they have sex. Although how Sakura can kind of like commit to sex when he's still not really good with tongue kissing. It's like, oh no. It's like, well, if you can't handle the tongue in your mouth, what are you going to do when like, Shizuka tries to actually have sex with you, boy? As I say, it's very fluffy. It's very sweet. At the time, I think I would have been hungry for anything like Shonenai or Yaoi, and this is one of the first ones, so I enjoyed it at the time. It's dated now. It's very nice, and I don't really necessarily like a lot of nice. And then it kind of ends with one of those poetic, like, who knows what will happen in the future, but for now, say that I will hold your hand forever. Oh, so romantic. And I can imagine it was very romantic. Maybe not my cup of tea, but that's all right. There are plenty more Yaois and Shonenais out there that are my cup of tea, and this one is worth watching because it is a nice, sweet story. And yeah, it's got a nice, sweet ending, which, yeah, romantic and sweet is what I say for that. But for now, I'm just going to say bye-zy-byes and see you next time.